represent Obiabo Federal Constituency. I'm an Ikwere man from Rivers State. Mr. Speaker, you have posed two questions. The first is whether we can determine the location of the office of a private establishment, considering that you operate a laissez-faire economy. Mr. Speaker, the answer is in the affirmative. Yes, sir, we can. And that is why we are elected. We're here to make rules which will govern the administration and ensure that we have good governance in Nigeria. And this rule includes rules that will bind businesses and operators, whether private or public, within the system. And that's why we have made the Companies and Allied Matters Act, which regulates the operation of private companies.
What's your point of order, leader?
Speaker, and that is the fundamental rights of citizens and corporate bodies, which is the right to freedom of movement. So whether we're here to make laws as to where you can relocate or not must be subject to the Constitution, which gives the corporate organization the freedom of movement and association. So that law that we're here to must be subject to the Constitution. And that is protected by the Constitution under Chapter 4 of the Constitution, freedom of movement and freedom of association. And a corporate body is a juristic person which is also entitled to that association. And forget the corporate body, there are individuals behind these organizations who are also entitled to this protection. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well, Chinda knows this better, so.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me also correct the leader. That freedom of association is bound by the same laws that we make. It is not limitless. You have freedom of association to the extent that that freedom is in tandem with the laws of the land. Because you have freedom of association, my dear leader, you cannot now give me a fist blow. So, Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, yes, I'm aware of the constitutional provision that allows for freedom of association, that allows you to operate, but yet we have laws which regulates that operation. And I have cited one of such laws. The Companies and Allied Matters Act regulates the operation of companies. Mr. Speaker, we have gone further. We even have the Nigerian content law, which we call the local content law. That law states that you must have an operational office at your place of operation. Is that not a limitation? We have already made a law. Listen, what I'm telling you is that we have powers. We have powers to regulate a company and insist that the company must operate in line with the laws we have made. And we have made such laws. And that law is not declared unconstitutional by any court. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, the answer to the simple question you have raised is that yes, we can regulate the operation of any company within Nigeria, including the siting of their office. Now, aside that, Mr. Speaker, you also know that we are partakers in that business. Those IOCs are joint companies. They belong to the federal government and the private sector. So we are interested. We want to ensure that we make better profit from our operation. We have investment as a country in those companies. Therefore, what we are saying, in tandem with economic policies, that your operation must be close to your place of raw material. We're also saying that citing your administrative office very far from your place of raw materials has also led to higher cost. And these companies deduct their total capital before the profit is shared between the federal government and the companies. And these are part of the capitals that they deduct. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, I think it is only patriotic for us to take decisions and positions outside the fact that I'm from the Niger Delta, outside the fact that those from the Niger Delta are suffering this degradation. But it is clear that if these companies operate close to their place of raw material, Nigerian government will make better and higher profit. Mr. Speaker, let me also state, I was in Port Harcourt when the Vice President visited. And it is not a hearsay. I was there when he also admitted that there is need for these companies to relocate to their places.
Mr. Speaker, I believe a few days ago, in my absence, Honorable Leo Ogo moved a motion on the floor of this House, which was carried, that the Vice President has no right to make a personal opinion under Section 171. No. Honorable Leo Ogo moved a motion on the floor of this House against the Vice President for expressing an opinion. Mr. Speaker, no. You move that motion here. You move that motion here. Mr. Speaker, if I may just... Privilege. Mr. Speaker, there's a motion, a standing motion that has been carried. Privilege.
Can we listen to the leader, please? Yes. Can you speak on your mic? Speak to the mic, please.
Mr. Speaker, this House passed a resolution a few days ago saying that the Vice President had no right to express an opinion on any particular matter that he needed to go to court. It is not now wrong, a few days later, to be quoting the Vice President for expressing, if anything, an opinion. So we have to be consistent with our resolutions on this floor. That motion was brought by Honorable Leo Ogo. So he cannot blow hot and cold at the same time. Thank you.
I guess, leader, you mixed it.